Hi, welcome to Inner Abundant Mindset Podcast. Today we have a fabulous guest, and we're going to be talking about entrepreneur ADD, distraction, mindset, and productivity. So let me tell you a little bit about our guest. Her name is Dr. Elisa Magill, and she's a #1 best-selling Amazon author. She has an MBA and a PhD, and she coaches clients on how to harness their entrepreneur ADD by empowering them to engage in the proper tips and tools to manage the workplace, relationships, distractions, mindset, productivity. And Elisa spent a decade of studying the mind and individual differences, looking for ways to help people reach their true potential to live the life by design instead of default. So welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's nice to be here.
Yes, I'm excited. I think we all have this little spaciness about work and stuff, but what do you mean by harnessing our entrepreneur ADD?
Okay, that's a loaded question, and I'm going to try my best to make it like the nutshell version and not get distracted by the answer. In my own personal experience, just to start with, and then in the coaching experience that I've had over the years, I noticed one common thread among most entrepreneurs. And that is, we all have this passion to get something done. We all have a passion to bring our dream and what we're really good at to the world, right?
Yeah.
However, what happens when most of us get that passion out there and we're real excited and we're telling everyone about it, this thing, it's a 4-letter word, it's called work, and that's the not fun part in a nutshell. So we have this idea, we get energized, we're excited about it, and then all of a sudden, we have to put it to work. We have to do some of these things that we may not be very good at. And then it becomes much more tempting to do something else or come up with a new idea because we're energized by that. We still feel like we're working and we get excited, but we're not getting anywhere. So in a sense, we're spinning our wheels. And again, I've been guilty of this. I've had people that I've coached that have been guilty of it. I've had friends in the entrepreneurial spaces, and we've all been guilty of this to some point or another. However, if we can learn our strengths and who it is that we are when we show up and we're truly in the moment, and we know how to really harness those gifts, then we can become so much more productive and streamlined in what we do. And the message comes across so much better than if we just continued on that hamster wheel.
Yeah, I'm famous for getting brilliant ideas every morning when I take a shower. I'm like, oh my God, that's fabulous. I could do this, I could do that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, so what I finally did is I got a notebook and started writing ideas down in it. And I guess one day when I have nothing to do, I'll go through this notebook. But I mean, we totally get sidetracked with ideas, which is keeping us, is it like a way of being in resistance or procrastination because we get stuck in the work mode?
So there's more than one answer to that because in my belief system, it's never one way for everybody all the time. However, I have to backtrack really quick. Jolene, you were mentioning the notebook. I talk about that in my program, Distraction to Action. It's not bad to have ideas. Capture them, write them down. I talk about the notebook, shelve the notebook, pull out 1 or 2 great ideas that you have the energy that you want to start moving forward now and focus on those. You have another distracting idea, you go back, put it back in that notebook. That way you're not losing the ideas, but you're keeping your energy focused on getting something done. You're seeing it through, bottom line. And so for some people, coming up with another idea is one way to avoid moving forward. Maybe their belief system isn't set up so that where they believe they deserve to be successful. That could be one factor. Another issue could be they don't feel prepared enough. They don't have enough education. They don't have enough testimonials. I have a doctor that I don't believe you have to have any education except that skill within yourself to make something you truly believe in work for you. Of course, if you want to be a medical doctor, yeah, you need to have that education. But
Right.
in the coaching world, when you want to inspire others and help guide them, I didn't need an education for this. It helps, definitely. But no, sometimes we just need to know we know enough to move forward now. And really, we know more than the next person that doesn't know about this topic, and we can help them. And so really, if you have something and you can help somebody, stick with your idea, move forward, and make progress. It's incremental goals. It's one step at a time. So that way we're not thinking we have to have everything done at once. We can really chunk it and start little steps and start to build from there. So it takes the pressure off. But I just have to share this one theory. Motivational theory says that we are more motivated to avoid pain than we are to pursue pleasure. So even though the end goal looks good, if the work gets difficult and it stresses us out, it's easier to go back to that notebook and go, ooh, I could put this program together. Oh, we can have so much fun. And you're energized.
Right.
So it's that struggle of staying in the down so that you can get back to the up. Everything's a light wave. It's just ups and downs. So when we're down, if we create those habits that help us to be successful, then we start to flow better. And then pretty soon, before we know it, we're flowing in an uphill pattern and we're making it work.
So what would be a good practice? So let's say I'm busy creating something. Oh, my book. Oh my goodness. My book was a good example.
Yeah.
I could write every chapter except my story because I did not want to go back into the pain of reliving all the garbage I went through, the cancer, the custody suit, the fight, the court. I'm like, I was thinking of going to a hotel and locking myself in a room for 3 days with a case of Kleenex and a bottle of wine. Maybe I might need two. But anyhow, to get through writing my chapter. And you know what I finally did? I said, that's it. Just sit down and start and quit lollygagging. But it took me 8 months to write 12 pages. I tried to keep it short, maybe
Right.
12 or 15 pages. So if you get into that really stuck, you just can't do it. What's
that's a really good example. And in my book, The Harness Your Entrepreneurial ADD, I actually talk about something called the intentional brain flow formula. And I had writer's block with my book. Even though I know this stuff, I've been talking about it and teaching it, and I know it, but I had writer's block because part of it is sometimes we want it to come out perfect. And then in your situation, it was painful to relive. So when we have that block, for whatever reason it is, one of the things that worked for me, and again, I'm not sure what might work for you. I have some ideas, but I'm very kinesthetic, as you could tell. I'm using my hands. It helps me think for some reason. If I sat on my hands, I'd be, what did I need to say? Not that bad, but I like movement. And so when I had writer's block that day in writing my book, this whole section, actually, I stood up and I paced the kitchen floor and I pretended I was presenting to somebody. And I was telling them about the story, what it was that I wanted to share. And all of a sudden, boom, the floodgates opened up and 4 pages of notes came out. And I'm just like taking all this notes. I'm like, and I ran back upstairs and I started typing away, and there it was. So it's a way for you to trigger this part of the brain to go to your hand so that you can get it out, or your mouth so you can speak it. For you, it's a painful situation, so maybe even just starting with that, about expressing how painful this might be for you and why you don't want to share your story. In fact, that might even be a wonderful way to get people to say, oh my gosh, I so identify with her story because I'm the same way. I don't like to share. It takes me back there. I don't want to do it. And so even just you sharing with them that this is so painful for you to do and that this is the last part of the book that you wrote because you put it off for so long, and maybe you don't even have to give the details. Just tell them that it comes from a deep sacred place. It's just too painful still for me. I'm still processing through it. I'm still in the art of healing. It's still a phase going through, and you can go through it too. We don't always have to be completely healed, but it's a process. It's a journey. that
Yeah.
said, let me share some ideas, some thoughts, let me share some of my soul with you. And you can go into the rest of the book. You don't have to tell everybody everything that's in here. Just share with
Right.
them what's difficult. Let them know that they're not alone. And I think that might be all you need to do.
Hmm. Well, I finally got it written, and then I had to learn how to speak it and not be emotional. So I've, yeah, learned and grown through all that. But
Well, I'm
anyhow,
glad to hear that. And the point is for others, just to kind of finalize that question you just asked, if they learn their style of opening that floodgate,
yeah,
it will really help them to overcome whatever block they're having, go somewhere beautiful, pretend you're presenting to a group of people if you're more spontaneous. If you're very detail oriented, go to a library and make sure there's no noises and just write things. Do some research, see what other people have done. Whatever it is that sparks your motivation, that's a great way to start to get past that block.
that's good advice. Yeah, because I know every time I start a project, I mean, it could be even like a painting, something simple. I'm really excited. And then there's that point where it's like, oh, it gets a little hard.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to finish it. And trying to finish something is sometimes the hardest part. So,
Yes.
this is where productivity and mindset come into play.
hmm So one of the things in my program, Distraction Action, I talk a lot about this, and I have to say it's not because I was this super organized person and it's my gift. By any means, no. I am more of the spontaneous, let me just get up and talk to you about this. Oh, let me get excited about the ideas. I have tons of notebooks here in my office. It's being hidden by this. But I learned it because it was survival for me. If I didn't learn how to do this, number one, I never would have gotten through school as a single parent, homeschooling my ADHD son while working, and earning my doctorate. There's no way I would have been able to do that if I didn't learn these skills. I
Ah,
got to apply it when I started my own business. And so that's where
ah,
the aha moment of kind of helping all these other people, what's wrong with me, came in, where I said, I need to apply this. So part of it is working backwards from your big picture goal. It's pretty simple, really. When we think about it, we're like, why didn't I do that earlier? But if you break that down and you come up with where you need to be, where you want to be next year, then come up with a quarterly plan.
mm,
Break that quarterly plan up into something that you can do every month. Then you break that up each week into what activities you need to do. If it does not fit with your quarterly plan goals or that month's goals, you don't do it. You shelve it, because we look for distractions. I mean, I know you probably get invited to a myriad of events
yeah.
and programs and so forth. Now, I love programs. I have several. I consider them my library of information. I go to them when I need them. Events, fabulous, great networking experiences, wonderful information. However, if it's not in line with where you need to be or what you're doing for your business right now, it's not going to be productive time spent. There's always going to be another opportunity. So I've been able to redesign my priorities based off of what it is I need to get done to move my business forward now. And that's where I spend my time. And it has been an amazing help, so much better for me. And I talk about this and I coach my clients. I have one-on-one clients as well. And I coach them through this process. And then, of course, Distraction and Action is a virtual program. And, there's training modules that are recorded. And then we do group coaching calls that are live when the programs run live. So, yeah, it's very helpful, just these little tips. And then I teach you how to be your own best leader.
Hmm.
So bottom line, a lot of people are used to working for somebody else. They have a
Right.
job description. They have somebody going, great job. Here's your
Right.
bonus. We have performance reviews. We know where we stand. We know what our expectations are, and we have people supporting us in a team if you're working for somebody else. When we step aside and we work for ourselves, we don't have that structure. It goes away. So without structure, that creativity can be stifled. So you create the structure then you be your own best leader by guiding you through the process and readjusting, and reward yourself when you do something good. We forget that. We forget to take care of ourselves and just enjoy the moment. And so if we can keep that in our lives, then we can stay motivated as well through the time.
Yeah, that's important. And also, I think an abundant mindset plays into that too, because you have to have this mindset along with the action, the two to kind of blend together. So what does an abundant mindset mean to you?
Well, sometimes we think about how we can give to others, which is wonderful, but I think we also really need to think about how we give to ourselves. How we allow ourselves to accept something that's beautiful. How we allow ourselves to accept a vision of something better. How we believe that we deserve something better.
Yeah,
right?
yes.
So abundance, we can't forget ourselves, basically. And I think a lot of women especially, it could men as well, I'm sure, but I've been around mostly women and my whole life, right? So we sometimes are taught to just give to everybody else. Sometimes we're taught to feel guilty if we spend time for ourselves, especially for mothers. And
Right.
it's, oh, you're not with your child, you're spending girl time, what are you doing, right? There's a balance, of course. We need to be balanced. We have to prioritize, our family and so forth. But sometimes we forget to put our own hat back on. And, I used to sometimes I still do, call myself the happy hatter, because I teach you how to be happy with all the different hats that we have to wear to be balanced in life. And so don't forget to put your own hat back on. Believe that you deserve to spend some time for yourself as well. Believe that something better is possible. And that way you can have an abundant mindset that really helps you move forward instead of sabotages you as you progress.
Ah, very good. I like that. And I like the fact of self-care, because
Yeah,
we forget to put ourselves first.
we do. Or
Yeah.
we just don't think we should,
No.
and so learning that. There's something I do it every day, basically, and I coach my clients to do the same. But if you have a smartphone, basically, it's so easy. You just take your phone, record yourself for 2 minutes saying something positive as if it's happening now, because the brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not.
Oh, right.
So you don't want to say one day I'd like to be. You say I am. I'm so excited because I am now doing X, Y, and Z in my business. This is just so wonderful. This is the way my life is. And as you watch this every morning to clear your mind and start to think positive, if you meditate or whatever it is you do to feel positive in the morning, if you have a spiritual routine, if you exercise, whatever the case may be, include that in your routine and your brain will start to believe it's so.
Yeah.
It will adjust things to make it happen.
Yeah, that is so true. I know. It's like programming your mind for prosperity.
Right.
Very important. Well, this
Yes.
has been very informative. I've loved hearing about everything you do. And I know we're getting close to the end, but I'm curious on how do you get motivation and energized when you have these goals, and how do you finish the project?
Sorry, I had to throw the chocolate out there. Number one, motivation basically is just energy. So if we can stay energized towards what it is we want to do, and part of that is just envisioning what it's going to be like in the end. The other part is have a support system. Some people, it's really helpful to have a coach to coach them through the process. For others, they have mentoring buddies, basically. But we have to be careful that whatever we feed ourselves is positive.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives us that energy to stay motivated. It's like the fuel that fuels your car to move forward. So feeding yourself things, seeing the big picture, seeing other people be successful when it motivates you. Tiny wins that you can do where you're feeling successful in the endeavors that you have. But just to stay on track, stay energized, to keep feeding your spirit and your soul positive words, positive energy, be around like-minded individuals. Animals. I love my dogs. I've got 2 of them. I've been very happy. They're not barking while I'm here in my home office today. And they're just wonderful. They're comic relief. They're my hugging buddies, And so whatever it is you can do to stay happy and motivated, get out in nature. I just went and did a business redesign day at the beach yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was just beautiful. And I was sitting there thinking, this is amazing. And, I I have a whole program I'm designing right now called Energize Your Brain, Body, and Business. So it's probably going to come out this May, and I'm just really excited for that one. So yeah, it's just get out there and motivate yourself doing something that makes you feel like you.
That sounds wonderful. And if our listeners want to get a hold of you and learn more about you and your website, and do you have a little gift that they can get from you?
Yes, I do. I have a little bit of both. So my website is envisionthislife.com, and that's envision with an E. So envision this life, all one word, .com. And that's my website. So you'll have information about, how to reach me and so forth. However, if you put /book, that will take you to where you can request download a free copy of my book, the #1 best-selling book that on Amazon. I put it in a PDF version just as a temporary free giveaway. And so you can go there and it's Harness Your Entrepreneurial ADD, How to Move from Distraction to Action in the Age of Information Overload to Supercharge Your Profits. And basically, I just teach you how to understand what your strengths are and really make those something that's first and foremost in your life. And then how do you recognize those triggers that kind of stifle you from moving forward and manage that process so that you can avoid the distractions as best possible. And then recovery steps. What do you do when you fall? We all fall. So getting back up is the most important thing. So envisionthislife.com /book. And you can go ahead and request a copy that way.
Oh, that's fabulous. Well, thank you very much. And is there one tip our listeners can walk away with today and do and put into action?
Basically, what we believe about, what we think about, we bring about.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
If we can think about the life the way we want it to be, and really start to envision us being there, picture yourself in it, your brain will start to make those neural pathways, those connections stronger, and you will start to believe it. And that's where that's where you can retrain your brain to start going on an everyday basis. So I would say visualize it happening in the here and now, present tense terminology as if it's happening, and believe it, feel it.
Yeah, I love it.
Live life by design versus default, right?
Yeah, perfect. It's wonderful. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for being on our episode today. I enjoyed it.
I really appreciate you having me. This is a great podcast, and just excited to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Great.